My name is Seyi Osifalujo. I am the Executive Director of Precise Financial Systems. We do financial software and we are a leading indigenous financial software provider in Nigeria. Interestingly, for me or for us, the inspiration came from the many challenges, frustrations, and roadblocks we faced as a service provider in the industry. We also provide clearing and settlement solutions to many banks in Nigeria. And of course, we also have to integrate with the old system called ECPI Extend for our client banks. And then, of course, there were so many innovations, many features we thought should be available on that platform. But to our horror and shock, we found that most of those things are not there, were not even considered important or not thought of. And so for us, I would say the inspiration came from the frustrations we had then. I will give you a few examples if you don't mind. For example, one of the things we realized, let me start with this way. Let's say we want to register, you have a customer that is Adewale and Sons Nigeria Limited. And then you are unfortunate enough that one of the tellers or users of the system, your own system, decided to put ampersand to represent the and. We normally write and with ampersand. And then you package those items and then you transmit them to the old system Then we used to bundle in 250s, okay? And then you package them and you transmit. You find that the system will reject the entire batch of 250 on account of one item. And then you are left wondering what happened. And you now have to go through all those 250 items one by one, checking various fields where somebody had gone and put maybe a semicolon or an ampersand or one of those special characters. You need to isolate it. God helps you if it's the 258th item. That means you have to start from number one and get to the end before you find the problem. Those are some of the challenges we had. Then the issue, the restrictive nature of the old system, that you are restricted to what time you can receive your own inward item, what time you can push out your outward item. For banks, for example, it means you've been collecting checks from 8 a.m. in the morning. You cannot send them. You close by 5 officially, but you have to keep some people in the office till 8 p.m. when the window in quote opens for them to transmit. And then God help the unfortunate person whose turn is to be on duty that night. And there are many rejections. You can be sure it's going to have a sleepless night. Those are some of the challenges we had, that the old system had. There was complete disconnect between the old system and the in-house clearing solution. So many things were done by manual. You have to copy files from one server to another, all those myriad of issues. Even validation problems. One of the challenges we had then was that you see an inward item with trunk code of, say, 94. Where is that coming from? And that was causing problems for our solution. We expect that the system at the center then should have blocked all those wrong values from coming in. We had issues, and when we raised these issues to them, the then solution providers, they simply told us they were not going to do anything about it. But we were helpless. There was very little we could do at that time. And as God will have it, the opportunity came for us to build this solution and replace the old solution that had so many problems. So for us, the advantage and inspiration now we have to draw from the challenges we have had then as the solution provider. Many things we thought should be in the system, many things we wanted to do that we could not do. For example, as a bank, my customers have scanned checks from 8 in the morning. Why can't they transmit those checks immediately? Why must somebody wait till 8 p.m. and then end up passing the night in the office? So many things. Why must it be manual, copying from one server to another? So we found that all those are some of the things that came into play in us building NACS for Nigeria. It's hard to really compare, but we can only draw some of the differences that we knew or advantages that NACS has compared to others. For example, one of the, like I said, drawing from our own frustrations as providers, That helped us to put in place and capture some of the frustrations other service providers also had in industry, and how to make life easy for all stakeholders, both the service providers, the banks, and even the users. We had to capture everybody's interest to make sure the system is really usable for them. For example, the old system runs in a batch mode, whereas NACS runs sessionless. You can transmit your item at any time of the day. Remember I mentioned earlier that one of the frustrations we had was that you can only receive or send your item at specific times of the day. And it's only when somebody at NIPS then has pressed a button. So it's a manual process. If somebody does not press a button, you cannot do anything. If the window does not open, you cannot do anything. If somebody does not press another button to close the window, it remains open forever. So it was a really messy situation. So for us, the system runs unattended. Once we turned it on, we've not had cause to go and touch it. It's running unattended. If you as a bank, for example, you had a problem, you had to call NIPS to intervene. And remember, I said it was a very old system. One of the challenges we had then was that as banks, for example, you had to invest a lot in terms of infrastructure. You had to buy gateway servers. In fact, you had to buy two, one for production and one for backup. And these servers are not servers you just go and pick on the market. It is only the service provider then that can supply, they maintain it. It's a black box. Even as a bank IT staff, you dare not touch it. Everybody knows. Don't touch those servers. If you touch it, you're on your own. You void there whatever warranty that comes with it, and if your bank goes down, you're on your own. You must be ready to pay whatever the cost they will charge you to fix it. It runs in its own separate network apart from the bank. So when a new item comes, you have to copy it manually from that server into your own server, like when you are sending out, the same problem. So it was really a very big mess, but for NACS, NACS integrated fully into your in-house clearing system. It doesn't matter whatever system you have, NACS integrated fully completely into it, and then it allows you from your desktop as a user to be communicating with the system at NIPS, rather than you leaving your desk and having to go into the clearing room where the server is and then be punching the keys on the server. Now from your laptop or your desk, you can send all those items, view your inward, treat your items, and it's all done real time. No, I mentioned the issue of validations the other time, where on account of one item, you reject the entire batch of 250. NACS does not do that. Even if there is one item that had problem, of course, I must say that for us, special characters are not an issue. Same now allows special characters. You can put anything you want. It does not break the system. But if somebody was passing a wrong or invalid variable somewhere or value somewhere, now the system can just filter that one out and remain and allow the 249 to go into the system and continue processing. That makes isolation easier and you can easily trace. In fact, I remember one of the testimonies we got from the banks after they run the parallel run and everything, was that there was a time they had an issue because there was a time of parallel run when they are using the old system and NACS to compare figures and performance. And then there was like a few minutes to the closure of the window, and a particular bank sent an item. And then, of course, as usual, the old system returned the entire batch. I think they had just about 5 minutes for that to close, and they said, hey, where do we start from? Going through 250 items, looking for only God knows how many. But since they were doing parallel, they also pushed it to NACS. And NACS was able to assess, I think there were only 2 items, if I recall, that had problem, took the 248 and returned only 2. Immediately they could see what the problem was on those 2. They now use that feedback from NACS to quickly go and correct the problem on the other one before it could go through. And they said, thank God for NACS. So if not for NACS, most likely they will have missed out of that window. Those are some of the challenges and differences. And of course, NACS was built from grounds up to be multi-currency, multi-user, which the old system did not support. Already that restricts you to one person at a time inherently. Unlike NACS, that any number of users can work from their desk. concurrently. It's multi-currency. And also, some other advantage it had is that it removed those servers. Remember I said the banks had to invest in gateway servers. Now they don't have to do that. All they have to do is just plug a simple DLL into their in-house application and they are ready to go.